Whoa, what a debut for Alex Pereira, getting the second round knockout against Andreas Michailidis, landing the flying knee as soon as they got separation because of the start of the next round. As you know, fight starts standing, and all Alex Pereira needed was that little bit amount of time on the feet to find the flying knee, and it was after conditioning Andreas in the first round. Notice how Alex Pereira came out in the fight throwing leg kicks, specifically right low kicks against the orthodox Andreas, and notice how he kept hip feinting. He kept bringing his right hip forward, making it look like he's gonna throw another kick. What reaction did he get out of Andreas? Andreas was leaning back and getting light with the lead leg in order to check another leg kick. This was the conditioning from one of the greatest kickboxers in the world, Alex Pereira, in that first round. He used that data that he downloaded in the second round. Notice how Andreas came out in the second round, leaning back, front leg is light. He kept lifting it up, and Pereira knew there that Andreas is looking to check a kick, and he's putting a lot of weight on his back foot, which makes it hard for Andreas to move backwards entirely. When you put weight on the back foot, it makes moving backwards a lot slower. So Pereira threw the switch knee to the head. A switch knee is practically like faking your right leg in order to land the left, and that switch causes natural momentum. So as the right leg is coming up, Andreas thought it was going to be another leg kick. Notice how he lifts his lead leg up to check. He planted himself in space by trying to check a kick, and Pereira read this beautifully, landed the flying knee on the planted Andreas after causing that conditioning factor in the first round. You're only going to see this from the highest level strikers in the world. And a lot of people are wondering what happened to Andreas's eye in the clinch. It looked like he did not get hit that hard. As crazy as it sounds, it was just a few clinch strikes, a few uppercuts from Alex Pereira that looks like broke Andreas's orbital bone. Pereira is that powerful. In the clinch, he can break your face like that. Insane, man. But let's talk about some of the grappling here. So Alex Pereira is a very big guy. He's very long and tall, and has definitely helped him to scoot himself to the cage, as well as not allow Andreas to stack on top of him that well. But the other thing is, he did defend most of the takedowns. He got taken down one time after missing an extended left hand. It was a beautifully timed shot by Andreas. He got deep in on the hips, but Pereira did do well of trying to fight the takedown. He was pulling up the chin and pushing away at the left knee, which creates great separation between the two, and rising up the chin takes off leverage from the takedown. But Andreas used all of his strength in order to close that separation between the two that Pereira created in order to drive Pereira to the ground. But he still really couldn't control Pereira there, which was actually pretty impressive. He was able to scoot himself to the cage and simply start to stand up, while also fighting off the hands at the same time. And that is why you saw Andreas tied in the corner. He used so much of his strength to wrestle with Pereira. And even at one moment where Andreas had his back, Pereira went in for the Kimura lock in order to separate the hands, but he didn't pull it. He didn't try to get the submission the way Jan Blachowicz did against Glover Teixeira, who is ironically Alex Pereira's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach. So he used the Kimura not to get in the submission, but just to separate the hands in order to nullify the takedown, and from there gets right into the clinch and gets in that left overhook, as well as controlling the right wrist. That is something a lot of fighters would not do, especially strikers who don't really have a great amount of experience in grappling. That is very promising from Alex Pereira right there. He knows where his strengths lie, and he knows how to just get away from a takedown instead of going for something crazy. For example, like Conor McGregor did against Dustin Poirier, Jan Blachowicz did against Glover Teixeira. And that is pretty much the end of the breakdown. If he could just stop everybody's takedowns in a division that actually favors his style, because there's not a lot of great wrestlers, it's going to be very hard to see anybody beat this guy. I believe his credentials as well as his skills transition into MMA. He might be one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in the UFC right now. It just all comes down to how does he throw in his takedown defense into the mix, and how can he focus on his striking against the higher level competition, because after this, they're going to throw him another guy who's not in the top 15, of course. They're going to try to build Pereira a little bit to the point where they are confident that he can stuff the takedowns, that he can strike his opponents, and then eventually lead up into that Israel Adesanya fight, which I know the UFC is planning on. They are planning for Pereira to have amazing success in the octagon in order for them to put together that super fight between Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya. Pereira is not young though. He's 34 years old, so they're going to have to get this guy moving. They're hoping for him to be like the next Hamza Chimaev, Cody Garbrandt, Chris Weidman, these guys who came into MMA and went through the contenders quickly in their careers. That is what they're hoping with Alex Pereira as well, in accordance to his age. So hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.